Grand Theft Auto 5 came out in 2013. It is 2026. That is 13 years ago. Grand Theft Auto 6 is proposed to come out in November of this year, but if anything is to happen, it is probably going to be delayed till 2030 at this point. More than 10 years will it take for them to make a new game. But 1 year before GTA 5 came out, a masterclass in the open world genre came out. Something not a lot of people talk about. It's a cult classic, and it is absolutely slept on. I am, of course, as you could tell from the title, talking about Sleeping Dogs. Released in 2012, developed by United Front Games, and then published by Square Enix. Sleeping Dogs is basically Grand Theft Auto, but over in Hong Kong. But it's a little more in-depth than that. It tells a focused story within the city, focused on the Sun On Yee crime family. The city is alive. Everything feels like it matters. The choices the main character has to make, it feels like it affects the world. Somehow, more than a decade later, this game feels more alive than most modern open world games. So today we're going to break down why I love Sleeping Dogs and why it has become one of my favorite games. In Sleeping Dogs, you play as Wei Shen. He just recently moved from San Francisco back over to Hong Kong. Little does the Sun On Yee know, actually an undercover cop. He grew up in Hong Kong, but after his sister died, he moved to the US. But now he's back. He's working for the Hong Kong police department, to infiltrate the Sun On Yee and to help take them down. He wants to make the streets better. But in the whole rigmarole of everything, he forms a deep bond with these people. He doesn't just infiltrate and then, take them down like that. He grows deep emotional ties to these characters, and since you're playing as him, so do you. I don't want to spoil any major plot points, but in the beginning, there's a character you meet, and I look at this guy and I'm like, you're gonna die. And yeah, I was correct, he dies horrifically. I almost shed a tear even. It was it was rough. This game doesn't shy away. It is mature. It is bloody, it is dark, and it's not using those themes to be edgy. It uses those themes because it's shit that happens in the real world. So, Wei connects with Jackie, an old childhood friend, and through Jackie, he meets Winston, who's a mid-level Red Bull in the Sun On Yee, who's attempting to expand his influence. And this is where the game, really strides with its characters, because even though, yeah, he's a criminal, he's dealing drugs, he's killing people, he's a charming guy. He's a bit of a blockhead, but he's not evil. He's loyal to his friends. He's got ambitions of a greater life for himself, and unfortunately, this is what he has decided he has to do to attain that. Slowly, you find out the Sun On Yee isn't just at war with their rival gang, the 18K. There's lots of infighting going on. So, it turns into a turf war between these two sides of the Sun On Yee, between Winston and another character, Dog Eyes, who, as you discover, is a bit more of the evil side that you might expect from people like this. In the early missions, you're doing things like collecting debts, protecting street vendors who have paid you for protection. You're doing basic grunt work before you make a name for yourself within the triad. It feels very like every mission is a stepping stone up until eventually, spoiler alert, starting now. If you want to go into this game blind, skip until where I have on the screen. The wedding is ambushed. Winston and Peggy were supposed to get married. The leader of the Sun On Yee. Uncle Po is there. Everyone is there. It's happy. But violence breaks out. The wedding was ambushed, and ultimately Winston and his now wife are executed in front of Wei. This is where everything kind of changes. Wei is less of an undercover cop doing a bit of dirty work to try to put a crime family down. He is now being uplifted as Winston's best replacement. And Winston is grieving the loss of someone who he surprisingly did consider a friend, while at the same time dealing with the fact that got to be put into this leadership position he never asked for. It's gonna make his end goal a lot harder than it needs to be. Wei rises through the organization and interacts with other members that ultimately leads to the seeming downfall of the Sun On Yee, where in the end, after Uncle Po passes, one of the other Red Bulls, Big Smiley, starts a violent takeover. Wei kills him, and seemingly everything is over. But despite the fact that they found out Wei's a police officer, the Red Bull who did take over lets him be because he was loyal to her. And seemingly, it's kind of hinted at she wants to eventually use him. And in the end, Wei, the ending is open-ended. He feels lost because while his job is done, he made a connection with a lot of the people. So he's kind of got two roads to go down. Does he go back to his normal life as a cop, or does he leave it and really straight up be a Sun On Yee? It's kind of thought-provoking. I mean, the ending doesn't glorify Wei. He did a lot of horrible things, but in the end, he took down some of the baddest of the bad in the Sun On Yee, but someone else just took over. Is all the violence, all the death he partook in worth taking a few bad people down just for someone else to come and scoop it up? That's what the main story really asks. And it's a good look at how stuff like this in real life kind of balances the gray area between, sure, you're undercover trying to stop bad people, but you're doing bad things at the same time. It's thought-provoking. I think the story is incredible, and it's one of the reasons that I think this game is really worth checking out. But enough with the story. A game isn't a game without the gameplay. Oh my god, the combat. Heavy inspiration from, like, old martial arts films. Wei Shen is like a kung fu master. I mean, you are flipping guys over your back, breaking their arms. You are beating the absolute shit out of these people. Like, I am surprised they put this kind of combat in a game like this. I mean, you gotta... It's a bit like the Arkham games. A group of guys surround you, you're just beating the shit out of them. You know, you gotta hit counterattacks, things like that, and it's one of the things that makes this game so much fun to play. Just the combat is insanely fun. I mean, you're learning new moves, you're fly kicking. It feels ripped straight out of a Hong Kong film. Like, they nail this to a T. But unlike the Batman games, you're not Batman. You're a trained fighter, sure, but you're just a dude. So you will get the shit beat out of you if you don't master the combat, which admittedly it took me a bit of time, but honestly, it is so much fun. It's definitely up there in terms of hand-to-hand combat in gaming. I mean, just look at how Batman does it. Even the Middle Earth series, which copies a lot from the Batman game style of combat. I mean, look at what you're seeing on screen right now. You'll see it is insanely fun. Not to mention, you have environmental finishers. I mean, you're shoving people into phone booths, throwing them in fish tanks, chopping them up through saw blades. I mean, it is insane. insane. It kind of reminds me of Mad World on the Nintendo Wii. If you guys have ever seen that game, like, it is intense, but it is extremely satisfying. The combination of the hand-to-hand with environmental combat, I mean, honestly, almost feel like Kung Fu John Wick. It is amazing. In my opinion, it does have gunplay. It's not the best. I mean, shootouts are few and far between. I'd say they're fairly cinematic, but it honestly, it doesn't feel as good, as punchy as the melee combat. It feels less like Batman Arkham and more like GTA, which may not sound bad, but going from the gameplay of Batman Arkham to GTA is two very different styles of combat that are achieving two very different things. One makes you feel like you've mastered martial arts and you are like a god, and the other is, I'm a guy with gun, pew pew pew, you know? I don't think the gunplay is as good as it probably could or should be, but nothing's perfect. And then, okay, obviously, like I said, it's very much like GTA. It has an open world. Admittedly, the open world isn't that big, but it's big enough. Hong Kong isn't huge, but it is alive. There's cars all over the place. There's street vendors. You can eat food to gain more health or more damage temporarily. I mean, there's karaoke bars. You can go and do karaoke for. There's like 5 or 6 songs in the game, and they're classic, absolute bangers. I mean, you can run through markets that are just crowded with civilians. I mean, I don't know how this game ran back in the day, but if it runs how it does nowadays on modern hardware, then I am thoroughly impressed with the scale they have in this game. It's not a huge open world, not by any stretch. It's not Night City and Cyberpunk, but it is dense and packed, and it feels alive. I mean, it is great. And then, you have all the usual. You can buy tons of cool supercars, buy tons of cool clothes, etc., etc. The usual stuff you expect, and everything just fits the theme. And then, of course, there is really fun side content. There's fight clubs that, you go in and you fight through 6 rounds of enemies, and they are tough. I mean, they are hard. But they are super fun, and honestly, I use them as a way to better myself in the combat system. And then, Wei is an undercover cop, so there is some side content with that. Drug busts, running surveillance cameras to arrest a drug dealer, or there's even shootouts that you have to go and kill people and then, arrest them. I mean, it's just fun side content that honestly, I don't usually mess around with side content a lot in games, but it's just so fun. And it reminds you of his identity of, yeah, you're still a cop. It's super fun. And then there's also, another thing, they call face level, which is just kind of being social, your social standing. Like I said already, there's karaoke. There's a few dateable characters. Honestly, it felt kind of empty and vapid, in my opinion, but it is what it is. And then there's random favors for civilians. You see someone get robbed, you chase the robber, you see someone who needs help fixing their bike, and then someone else runs up behind you and mugs you. Or there's this one character who's in the Sun On Yi with you, who's always getting into trouble. I mean, I remember this one side quest where you meet him at the police station. He tells you, yo, Wei, I'm gonna need a car. He's like, yeah, sure, I can help you out. Then all of a sudden, explosions go off at the police station. He says, go, go, go. It is stupid, but it is fun nonetheless. So, yeah, check out Sleeping Dogs if you haven't. I mean, this game goes on sale pretty often. I think I bought it for like $5 during one of Steam's last sales. I mean, it's not a perfect game. It's from 2012. The shooting is bland. Depending on the car you're in, it can feel super floaty. but the stuff it focuses on, the story, the combat, the side content that is engaging and reinforces Wei Shen's character is amazing. I think it does most of what it strives to do extremely, extremely well. Not to mention, pick up the definitive edition. It came out only 2 years after the base game. It includes the two DLCs, Year of the Snake and Nightmare at North Point, which do really fun DLCs. I mean, Nightmare at North Point is like literally like a necromantic vampire zombie fantasy deal. It's super fun. Probably some of the best side content in a game I've ever played, and it's relatively short, but it is great. Unfortunately, it's been over a decade. Sleeping Dogs has never gotten a sequel, and it probably never will. But with the open-endedness of the story, I don't think it's really necessary. It's not a franchise that is chasing trends, making the next big thing. It's one game that is self-contained, got good mechanics, it's got an identity, it's got a story it wants to tell. It is cohesive. It does what it does really, really well. And that's why, more than a decade later, Sleeping Dogs holds up as probably one of the best GTA style open world experiences that I have ever played.